guess you really see that you're, in that case, you're not the doer. You know, you never were the doer. You just persuaded yourself that you were. And
Absolutely.
yeah, you
You,
felt like
you,
you had to do.
again, this body was formed. It put a name on it. You know, a label on this form was labeled. And then somebody outside said, good job, John. Bad job, John. Good job, John. Oh, try harder, John. Okay, try harder. Hey, you're doing a great job, John. Good job with this. So ego was built because, hey, this John seems to be doing a lot of good stuff. Oh, now this John did something bad. But, and see, then mind presents thoughts to the John that you believe yourself you are, that you're moving around doing good things and bad things. And that is the mind where it's sitting there judging expectation and memory, and also then guilt, and all these sort of things happen because you truly are taking ownership and doership of all these things. But you have to remember that John, this body, is just the 5 elements that got a label slapped onto it, and that you started to believe yourself to be, and began believing that this body's actions were your actions. And yet, when you know yourself in a real sense as that formlessness, you cannot act how you were prior to beingness and how you were after leaving the body. These things, everything, the nothing, the something, the nothing, everything came out of nothing, appears to be something for a time, and returns to nothing. That appearance in between is nothing. And see, then again, you go back to the analogy of a dream, because when you know yourself in a real sense, all of this presented to you as far as form-based reality is absolutely a dream. It appears upon your spontaneous presence and is discarded. The same as if you did something in your dream that you weren't proud of, or that you were really proud of, but upon awakening, you don't sit there and keep giving yourself accolades or depression things about the things that occurred in your dream. The same way, when you know yourself in a real sense, everything that appears upon your spontaneous presence is illusion. All thoughts about that are the body knowledge through illusion, and they are not about you in any way, shape, or form. They're about the body that you're holding for a time that is not you. So you don't get lost in the thinking process of all the things to think about that this body is going through, or all the body knowledge. And that's one reason why mantra is so good, because you're not going out there, you know, you're not trying to do anything more that would give you more ego and more body knowledge. Like, I know these things, and now this ego, this egoic sense of self, this doer where there is no doer, has just blown up more and more and more. More body knowledge, more attachment to the body knowledge, because the more I learn, the more I don't want to be nothing.
You got an investment.
Exactly. That's why Maharaj says 30, 40, 50 years of sadhana, you truly want to be like, you know, and that's why a lot of these folks are, you know, you wear the robes and the beads like I did, the long hair and all that. It's like, yes, I'm so spiritual. As a matter of fact, I could sit here in absolute silence for like 5 minutes. But if you weren't you doing those things, and all of this is arising on your spontaneous presence, the silence is what you are. So how can you be what you are? You just have to stop being what you're not. Stop trying to be what you are not, and just be. Be yourself. Be with you always. That's why Maharaj says, be normal, be simple, be humble, be with you always. And Nisargadatta Maharaj talks about ahimsa or something like that, like do no harm. Don't bother anybody's beingness, so to speak. Because when that's the case, then there's nothing arising through mind that you're sitting there trying to defend or to grasp. See, if I get upset with you, my mind starts to think about you. And immediately there's an I am somebody else that's offended by something other. And then I really start to believe that otherness. and I create this otherness because I have to do something to you for the things that you did. Therefore, I believe that I'm a doer and you're a doer, and we're separate and apart from, instead of the one formless presence that's holding all the bodies.
Yeah, that's a description of the ego.
Indeed.
Yeah, it's like the somebody else is out there and I don't approve of them and I don't like the way they're doing this or that, and then you have to take the body, you have to take form in order to make that judgment, and then
Yeah.
but maybe that arises so that you'll see it, in a sense of part of the teaching. It's like, oh, look at what's going on here, and what's really driving that particular.
The only thing with that is there are billions of somebody else's that you could label as somebody else once you're and I am somebody else.
Right.
So the idea is to get rid of you, the root.
Yeah.
When there's no I am somebody else, there absolutely is no other. But if I sit there and I start to say, okay, I'm going to go through all the different others and then start to categorize them as not other, but there's an I am. So I think Ramana Maharshi talks about, the doubter. There's a million doubts, remove the doubter. So the I am somebody else, when that's removed, it removes all the other immediately, because there's no I am somebody else, that main root, that pinpoint. If there's not an I am somebody else, there's no world. And of course, there's still physical, from the experience of the physical, yes, but there's not the running dialogue, and there's not an I am John doing this, and this is how this is going to be, and this is Joe, and I saw him last week, and this happened, and this is Susie, who I really like, but I don't know if she likes me, and all of that goes away. It's just remain with your selfless self. And you'll see this body go through all the different various things, but no experiencers created because there wasn't a you in it. I guess they talk about like not having any dogs in the fight or whatever. You don't have any dogs in the fight.